So for those of you who are watching this recording, this will be start of part 3. And we want to go back to our code here and run it. Let me show you that it still breaks, which it does. So, and it breaks here on the creating a node part. And yeah, here is yeah, the problem there was that for some node we wanted to create them. No, let me actually go back to UNL file. I lost my thought. Yeah, so the problem there was that for some interfaces which are here, like the serial ones, the node, sorry, the interface is referring to another node, which is defined later in the XML file. So we are like going, you know, from top to bottom. We are hitting the node. We are starting parsing the interfaces there. And one of the interfaces says, I'm attached to the node 17, which I haven't even parsed yet. And this is like where the problem is. So I'm parsing through interface. I would like to refer to another object, but it's obviously not yet present. So this code breaks. And basically what I have to do, I have to find another way to create this constructor. And you know, I was thinking about different options and so on. So what probably I'm going to do here is that I'm going to have a couple of like optional parameters and stuff like that. So if node ID will be yeah, so I will have to actually completely recreate it. So before I didn't have this parameter, I was just passing node dict, I think, and ID to network. So node dict is basically XML to dict object which contains parsed XML, and ID to network was mapping of network ID to the network object. And you know, so this part I have to recreate, because when I hit this interface for the node with the ID 16, I would like to create an object just based on ID, and then later I would like to populate it. So yeah, this is different. Okay. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do it. I think I will do the following. So I am going to move some part of this node dict to what is called class method. So this will be like a separate function, and we say let's say like from dict, and I pass so this will be what is called the decorator class method. And I will just show you in a moment like how does it work. So here the parameter is class and node dict. Or maybe not. We'll see. Let me just start typing and we will figure out a little bit later. So I'm going to copy paste this part. Okay, and I already do not really like it. Right, so okay, I don't need this anymore. So it says I don't have this part, so it will just not dict. Okay, So I will definitely need to parse all of these parameters, but they are not part of the self anymore. I think. So, and let me for now comment this code out. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think this is how it will be. And here I can then call return class from those things. So it will be like name is equal to name. Let's see, maybe. Yeah, I think I could put it in the dictionary. So this will be like params, I think. Params. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm not sure what is the the proper way to move around in PyCharm, but okay, I will just have to do it like this. Okay. And then I will have to say params is empty dictionary. So then I can call class from params. So what this is going to do? So let me just drop a quick docstring here and maybe like examples. So how you call this? You can call now not from dict, and you can say not is equal to. So like usually you call like a class when you want to create an instance of the class. You say not is equal to not, and you pass like name is equal to like one, let's say r1. Let's say node ID is equal to 1 to 3, you know, stuff like this. So here you can kind of do very similar stuff where you say I'm going to pass a dictionary, and this dictionary will be that dictionary from XML to dict that I had, which contains like this at name, at ID, and you know, stuff like that. So you would say like not dict, and you kind of like create the same object. Now it's still, this dictionary creation could be rewritten as dictionary literal. No, I would, let's say I can create dicts like this and it will not yell at me anymore. Okay. So yeah, it will be like this. So then we will have to change some part here as well. So yes, I think, okay, I will leave those for now, but I will get rid of some of them. So if node ID is definitely required parameter, so then I have name, which will be optional, and then I have if no, so then I have node type, which is optional, Then I have image. So I have image, which is optional. I have if icon, which is optional. I have if x, which is optional, if y, which is optional as well. So what this allows us to do is we can create we can create basically an object of class node using two different ways. So we can still use this like node, you know, the ones that I showed you, or we can use this method from dict, which will do, you know, which will basically parse this input dictionary, and then it will return, it will call this init back. And let me refer to the article on Stack, post on Stack Overflows, which were describing this. So let me see. Class method as alternative constructor. I think this is how it was. Yeah, I think this is the one. Oh, and I just lost it. What is clean platonic way to have multiple constructors in Python? Yeah, so this guy is asking, like, he's trying to solve the same problem that I'm trying to solve. He wants to have a couple of constructors that, you know, have different structure. So in this case, he has very similar, simple example, which says, okay, I have a cheese where you can pass number of holes, or you can randomize number of holes. So like the way you would do it in like language C++, it supports overloading, function overloading. So this is where, if Python was C++, like, you would be able to create another init statement where you could pass different parameters. So you would, in one of them, you would pass only EVE node ID, and in another one you would pass nothing, for example. So you could have a couple of these definitions under the same class, or, you know, in any function basically. So this is like C++ style, like overloading. You don't have that in Python. So instead of, like, you have default arguments which could kind of solve it for you. The problem with default arguments is that if you really have like a mix of like what you want, and you also have to like enforce what you can pass, default arguments will not really work good for you. I mean, you have to create a lot of checks in your code. What you could do, you could create like class method which will say, okay, I'm going to accept only like one argument, which is supposed to be dict. And then you could do some sort of magic with this dict, like parse it, whatever you want, and then either return a new object, or, you know, it's really up to you how you would approach this class method, but you could create an instance of this class as well. So let me go back to this article. Yeah, so this is what the guy was asking, and you say, actually none is better for magic values. Okay, yes, this is what you know, like, what is the usual way to approach this. So you just specify a none. For his example, it works because he either have one parameter or zero parameter, so it works fine. Now there is another one, this answer, which I actually like better. So it says, if you want multiple independent constructors, you can provide them this as class methods. And here it says those are usually called factory methods. So here you have init, also with some default parameter, and then you can call this cheese.random, where you randomize this parameter in a different way. And yeah, I really like how this ends up, and I think it really fits our model here. We still will need to have some kind of default arguments if I want to create the, if I want to create an object, right? So because yeah, the only way to create it basically is to to call this node in with parentheses and provide an argument. So the first argument in this class method will be CLS, which is basically a name of the class. So in this particular case, it will be node, okay? And then you can pass whatever parameters you want. So at the very end, you say class from these parameters, and this class will be substituted with node, is like this, okay? Pretty straightforward. Okay, so so these parameters are known. Here I will have to write some boilerplate codes. Okay, so I don't need this. This was just an example. I will start writing this boilerplate code like skeleton says, and I think, by the way, PyCharm can do it for me. Let me see. PyCharm automatically fill in init method. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it can do it automatically, but I don't recall how. Constructor. Generating construct, maybe this. Refactor, no. Generate, I think this is the one. No. Generate, no. Interesting. On the main menu, choose code generate. No. Okay, this is no, this is not PyCharm. This is just IntelliJ IDEA. I really cannot recall, and I can't find it. Move cursor to arguments. Press Alt Enter. Move cursor to argument. Press Alt Enter. Select Add Field to class. Okay. Let's try. Okay, this is nice, but I want to do it for all of them. Fix all unused local problem. Okay. Fix all. Nice. Okay, this is perfect. Yeah, I'm not really expert with IDE like PyCharm. They have so many features, and I just know a couple of them. Okay, so this is still wrong. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around how it will look like. Okay, so this part is good. So this is what I needed. So I will have like none is fine. I have icons. I don't need this. Definitely I don't need this anymore. So self ID to network. Okay, so this part is tricky. Let me see. The main reason why is that we called here, okay, let me start. Okay, I definitely do not need to save this though. And I think I can also make it none. So I can uncomment this and I can uncomment that. So it will say self parse interfaces ID to network. Okay, and where is parse interfaces? Okay, let me also rename this. Let's say to interface. Too many times. Okay. There is some to do. Yeah, I already started forgetting all the stuff that I wrote for myself. Okay. Let me see the chat as well. No. Yeah, like guys, if you want me to clarify some kind of like code that you see and you like have no idea what it does, so just let me know. I will like stop and explain what that means. Okay, so parse interfaces takes ID to network. Okay. Right, so it parses interface dict. Okay. Yes, this code will crash again. So let me see, let me put that I can put none. I also do not like none here because I want to use get method and you obviously cannot use get method on none, so this will crash. So okay, I see something here. So I create an interface which contains an ID, a name, and EVE network. Now, we just discussed that not all of interfaces are connected to their network, so this may be an optional parameter. So I have to go back to my class. I need to find class interface. Here. So class interface takes EVE ID, EVE name, EVE network or not, which is not. Okay, so EVE network can be none as well, so it's not attached to any network. So and here I say if self EVE network is not none, self EVE network dot interface append self. Okay, fine. Okay, this is good. So now I have to redo part of my code here. So okay, so yeah, I have to do something here. Okay, so if link type is Ethernet, then we would like to get if network we want to get from this dictionary. Otherwise if network ID will be none, I don't need network ID anymore, and I say if network is none. Okay, so now here I can say if network. Cool, so now this code will not crash. So basically I'm saying if the interface is Ethernet, then I will want to retrieve this network object from my dictionary ID to network. If it's serial, then the network is none. And then I'm creating an interface which says, like, just pass this network. Okay. Yeah, this will work. So this will not crash anymore. If I pass it ID to network, okay, this will not crash anymore. This is fine. Okay, this looks much better than it was before. So I think the code now potentially will not crash. I'm not yet sure. Let's see. Okay, no, it will actually crash. Okay, so what does it say here? It crashes in self-parse interfaces. It says interfaces dig self, not dict. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Okay, so what is happening here is that, remember when I told you we want to create here, like, I want to create a node which we didn't parse yet. So the only thing I can create is basically ID. Now, when I do this, so I go through this from dict. Oh, I actually didn't call this, so did I call it somewhere? No, okay. Yeah, now there are at least two problems. So, first of all, problem one is that I have to change my where I call the node with big letters. Watch case here. Here. So here I have to change this. So this is not the proper way to call this. Now I have to call from dict, and I want to say from dict not dict ID to network, so I have to change the method a little bit. Yeah, so here from dict will also accept ID to network. ID to network. And here I have to pass it as param. ID to network is equal to ID to network. Okay. I don't need this anymore. Okay, so this is one part. So I should be able to accept ID to network. And I am calling right now, instead of direct call to node, I'm calling from not dot from dict. This one, this is good. Do I call somewhere else? Not. I don't think I do. Okay. So this part is fine now. The second problem is that after I use this, at the very end it says class method return class this, and I am going through this code, and at the very end it says self-parse interfaces ID to network. Now this is a problem because I cannot parse any interfaces right now for that object. Because I want to create here like an empty object, like with just node ID, which is a mandatory parameter, as all other parameters are optional. So I cannot use this anymore. So I have to think of something else. So I think I will have to say here if I can say if ID to network is not none, then I want to parse interfaces, otherwise I don't. Okay, so I think this code will not, okay, of course it will. Okay, cool. Now another part is that it says I don't have, not object has no attribute not to dict, which is true because I deleted it. So when we pass an object from XML which contains this, I had not dict which contained all of that, so now I want to extract this interfaces dict. Okay. Okay, so here, this is where it crashes on line 88, which is right here, and I don't have here this self node dict. So I need to change something. I need to say yeah, I want to say interfaces dict, which can't be none, by the way, so I don't have this code anymore. Okay. I need to copy paste this though. So I think I can pass it here. I can say interfaces dict is equal to none. And here I then say if interfaces dict is not none, then I parse and I pass this interfaces to dict and ID to network. And that's all. Okay, so this says this is not used anymore. Okay. Yeah, so I should add this here, where I say params interfaces.dict is equal to not dict dot interface, and let's say get. I would like to get it from the dictionary, or I will get an empty list, let's say. Yeah, cool. Okay, this part is fine now. I don't need this part anymore. So I pass here interfaces dict if it's okay. Maybe now it still crashes. What? Unhashable type. dictionary cannot contain, let me see, a dictionary unhashable type list. Dictionary keys must be mutable types. If key can change, they will. Okay, this is fine. Your error says that you try to use a list as dictionary key. Well, I don't. You will have to change the list into tuples. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see now. You don't have to put it's not a list. You just say what element you want to get. Okay, so this is good now. Wow, and it didn't crash. Amazing. So let's see. Yep. So let me parse nodes. I want to print this, but I want to see it properly. And by the way, do I have the... Yeah, so first I also will need to move some of this code somewhere, because this is already like a big chunk of code which just does not belong here. So let me grab this. Okay, and I am going to create a new file, new Python file, which we'll call... Gosh, it's so hard to create a good name for this. Okay, so maybe like model, like network model. Let's see, like network model. Okay, and I have all classes now there. This will break everything. So I need to say that I want to import network. No, I want to say from network model. I would like to import node link interface network. Okay. 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 So I also need to move this. Let's try again. Also not defined. Okay. Name GNS canvas scale. Okay. Fair enough. Let me move that as well. Okay. Why it's crashing? GNS canvas scale. Okay, I use GNS canvas scale in two places. Okay. expression is canvas scale, and that's all, I think. Okay. Okay, this code does not crash anymore, which is great. Okay, so parse nodes, parse configs. Okay, so let me go back to the main code. So it says, okay, I want to get arguments, I want to read source file, I want to parse it, I want to parse networks first, then I'm going to parse nodes, and I'm doing this. Okay. Yes, there is one thing that I don't like though. So the problem with all of this is I'm rewriting an object. So remember this problem where I'm going through this node here, there are interfaces which refer to another node. So at this point I create an object and all is fine. The problem though, when then I later pass this object, like let's say it was the next one. So if I parse this, I create a new object and I don't link them together. So I'm just recreating a new object, but this interface refers to another object. So this is bad. So I have to change something. And probably I also want to at least print this to show you like that this is indeed like and I also want to change something else here as well. So it says print self.name. I also want to print ID here, so it says if node ID is equal to self.if node ID. Okay. I just really want to show you this problem because it may be like pain in the ass. So here, after I parsed everything, after I parsed nodes, let me show you. So I have an object called where is it? So I have an object, I think, with ID 16. Yeah, so object with ID 16 is referring to object number 17, right? So I'm going to get this object ID and like delete after fixing. So let's say node 17 will be ID to node from with the number 17. Oh, the problem is even worse. Haha, nice. Yeah, the problem is even worse. Yeah, okay, so let me just do this and I say print representation of node 17, and I also want to print the node.id. So this is like an internal ID number. I'm getting the object 17, and sorry, it's like this. Okay, great. Now, okay, does it print? Node object has no attribute ID. Oh, I think use built-in function ID like this. Okay. Yes, so this is one object. Now let me go to parse interfaces. And I don't see it here. Okay, because it's right here. Parse interfaces, and I want to say, well, if oh, okay, so I didn't even call this. Right, okay. So you see, when there is a serial, I do not create any other object, so I don't link them together. So I'm thinking, is this a problem or it's all fine? Oh, it actually is a problem. So I need to pass, besides ID to network, I need to pass ID to node here, which can be also none. And I say if remote node if remote node will be ID to node and I want to get, yeah, so this is where I'm hitting the serial link. So I'm saying if network is none, because there is no such parameter, if remote node will be ID to node, which basically contains mapping of IDs to the node objects, I'm going to get this object, but if it doesn't present, I say, well, I just don't say anything, it will be none. So if a remote node, if a remote node is none, then I want to create this remote node. I want to say if remote node will be an object. Which we create, which will be what? Which will be node if node ID is equal to, say this, if remote node ID is equal to this dictionary, this will be if remote node ID, if remote node ID. Boom, done. So I created this object. Now I want to add this object to the list. I want to say, sorry, to this mapping. I want to say this mapping will be like this, if remote node. Now with interfaces it may be even trickier. So I'm saying I am referring to an interface on remote device, but again this node hasn't been created yet, so I created but it's empty. So I cannot map interface to this yet. Okay. I also need some new functions here. And in parse interfaces I also want to add something here. So here. So I have self interfaces, and now I also will have self interface. No, self int id to say self id to interface, and this will be a dictionary. Whenever I pass an interface, like here, I want to say self dot id to interface from id if interface id will be interface. Okay, so now I can have a function which says def get interface, and I provide an ID interface ID, and I say return self ID to interface will be interface ID. Okay, so now I can retrieve an interface from object by its ID number. Okay. So here I am creating an object. Yeah, I really need to be careful here. I say if remote interface ID is there, well, this will be part of the same. If remote ID is none, into this. How to take into account a situation where we created an object, we are referring to interface, but it's not there. So we can have a similar, if we may have the similar thing like we did previously with class method, but I have mixed feelings about this. Okay, so if this remote node is known, we create a node. Else we say, well, we don't create a node. And then I can say if remote interface no. Well, if remote interface. Yes, so here is the thing. I either create a new interface here. Sorry, it should be here. Create new but empty interface. Or I can forget about all of that. I think I know what I can do. I can say if here if so node is self. There is also if remote node. It will be, by the way, remote node is known. Then I create a node. Okay, and says this: if the object is not known, so then I can retrieve this object and I retrieve an interface which will be remote node get interface, and I provide if remote ID, if remote interface ID. Okay. Oh, and my sound stopped. Let me launch it again. Okay, so now interface object may contain new stuff. It can accept remote node, which will be remote node. It can accept remote interface which will be remote interface. And I can say here remote interface is none. And then it can accept remote interface, if remote interface ID. So then later when we create this interface, we may link it back. I don't like this. It should either create it at the beginning, or maybe I will just get it working for now and then let's see. Actually, you know what? I can create it. It's not big of a deal. So I can have here a new method, so where I create an interface based on some parameters. This method will accept as obligatory parameter if interface ID, and then you have if interface name, which is optional, so it can be none. You have if network, which is optional. You may have a remote node, which is optional. You may have remote interface, which could be also optional. And if remote interface ID could be also optional. So this will be interface, is called interface. Basically copy paste of this code. ID to interface, okay, and self interface, append interface, great. Not self. Okay, here I call it, I say create self, create interface, and I pass all of that stuff. Which can be complete copy here. Okay. It seems all extremely easy in the beginning, but when you start writing, you hit some interesting problems that you didn't even expect before. Okay. Okay, I can change the code a little bit. So here I say self-create an interface where I start providing parameters. I can say if interface ID is equal to if interface ID, if what? Probably it makes sense to put this on top. Okay. Okay, if network will be if network if interface name is if interface name here if interface ID is if interface ID. Okay, so local variable if interface name is not used anymore. Of course it is. Okay, comma here. Just unexpected arguments. Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so if it's Ethernet, I create an interface with these parameters. If it's serial, then I don't need this. It says if a remote node is not yet exists, I would like to create this node. I would like to add it to nodes dictionary. And here I create a non, but we can create an interface here. I can say a remote node, create an interface for me, please. Which will contain, the only thing it really contains is if interface ID, and that's pretty much it. So, and this will be if remote interface ID. That's the only thing it really contains. So then I create this interface, and probably I also want to return this object here, return interface. So remote interface is this. So I'm going again through, let me go back here to XML. I am parsing this node. It hits this. It says, please create an interface for me which is connecting to remote ID 16. So this node doesn't exist yet. So I create this node and then I create this interface if. This is what is handled in this part of the code. And here I will call self create interface. And now I can pass different parameters. I can pass this. JMPY, thanks for following. I'm still not used to the sound, so every time somebody is following me, I just like on this on the chair. I'm still not used to the sound. Okay, so let me also fix this formatting. This is bad. Like this. Okay. So if the remote node is not there, I create a node. I map it, so I have this mapping. I create an interface because for empty node it's not there as well. And now I want to specify this interface locally. Okay, this will be with this argument. Now, what happens if node is already there? Then I would like to get remote interface. So remote, it says here remote interface will be remote get interface if remote interface. Okay, so if it's not there, I am getting this interface. So I now have this reference to the object. Okay. So in here we say self create interface. I have to change this a little bit and we are all good. Okay, I don't need this parameter anymore because I always refer to some object. Okay. Remote interface is this. No. It should be different. So I'm creating a reference that I have remote node, which will be remote node, and remote interface, which is remote interface. Okay, cool. So now I have this two-way linking. Okay. So now I have to fix my interface class because it's not making any sense anymore now. It should be able to handle all of these parameters, which it doesn't. Hi, nice. Take stars, thanks for following. Yeah, that will it is sad that you will not be there. We could meet in person, that would be really great. Could you write in the chat more about what proof of concept you are doing? It would be interesting to hear about. Oh, okay. Cool, yeah. Yeah, it's really, machine learning, it's really, I would say this year it's really hype. There was some cool solutions there, but right now it's more about hype. So like people, well, I see people in the industry like using the word machine learning without understanding what that really means and what kind of problems you can solve with them. So you know, this is why I came up with this talk, that okay, I just want to clarify what it really is, what kind of problems you can and what kind of problems you cannot solve, and maybe like show some examples with Python which like would be easy, not too complicated. Nice. Yeah, so I didn't use NSO a lot. It's just false, because I'm doing like only enterprise space, only enterprise products. So NSO really like is not really in my scope, and I didn't have a chance to work with it. But I heard some success stories there. Yeah, so during my talk in machine learning with Python, I will cover first like several approaches to machine learning. So what is like supervised learning, what is unsupervised, that kind of stuff. Then I think I will take one or two examples and I will like show that it does not take much code to write them actually in like Python or in any other language. And then I will also have like a small section like, okay, machine learning is cool, but how you can apply to networking, right? What kind of products, you know, what kind of use cases we already have and what kind of use cases you can think of. I'm not sure though that as part of the streams I will be doing machine learning, maybe in like only in a couple of months or so. The main reason why is that you could spend a lot of time like trying to do something. For example, you know, I could collect in the lab some logs and try to do machine learning on like grouping the events. But then, you know, I'm not sure that it will actually work. So like until you actually do the whole work beforehand, you are not 100% sure that you will get results that you wanted then. So that's why, you know, I could spend like 3 streams doing machine learning live and then I will not get anything meaningful. So that's why for now I don't want to put it in the stream. But yeah, could be. Okay, so let's see where we are. Okay, it's still crashing, which is expected. So because I didn't fix this interface and I need to do it. So it was accepting if network, node, and I have a couple of new parameters which will be a remote node and remote interface. And I can say self remote node is remote node, self remote interface is remote interface. Okay. And it says, let me also put some defaults here. Okay. So now my interface object should be able to handle it, which it doesn't. Oh, okay, now I think I know. It goes back to non-type object has no attribute get. Okay. So it says here ID to node is none, and then I am trying to call this non-get. So okay, this is where it's crashing now. Why do I have here node non? Why do I allow it? Let me go to here self-parse interfaces. So I call self-parse interfaces only if this dict is not known. Okay, let me do this. Show me where you are crashing. Self.name. Okay, so it's crashing on that router LAC, which is this one. Okay. So, oh, right. So I am crashing there, but why? I still don't see though. So it says if interface dict is not none. Okay. LAC. Let me print also interfaces.dict. Oh, I see what I did here. I think there are a couple problems. I'm still like a little bit hesitant what exactly happens here, but I see a couple of more problems though. So hold on. It says node type object has no attribute get. Okay, so I'm calling piece none. No, interface dict is passed. And then I call ID to network. Let me call here ID to network. So sorry, show it on the screen. Okay, so I have stuff there, but the object is wrong. Right, okay, makes sense. I have never passed this argument in the first place. It's just not there. Obviously it will crash. So yeah, I will have to change something more. So here I need to add this as well. None. Now I want to also add self. So I want to say self ID to node will be so I want to add myself to this mapping. Node ID is equal to self. Then I call it here. Great. This will still not be enough. I need to get to my parse nodes function and fix it there. Parse nodes, I think. Yeah, here. So this stuff is not relevant anymore. I moved it to ID to node, and I am going to pass it here to node. Okay, fair enough. There is still one problem with this. I'm going through this UNL file. I am hitting this. I'm creating an interface. It refers to objects that is not there. I create this object. I map it here. Now I go here and I create it again. So this is where my problem is. And what I need to do, I want to say node is equal to ID to node get not cool. I also need to parse this node dig before. Yeah, more stuff to change. Yeah, so the problem is I go through this part. It says, okay, I'm creating this object. Now it goes through this interface, this is fine. It goes through this one, it says I'm referring to this object 17, which is not yet parsed. So at this point I create an empty object with an interface 1. So this part, I'm creating this at this moment, and I link this to like interface. Now I go to this node and I basically recreate those nodes, those interface again, and the linkage is broken now. So when I go through this, what I really want to do, I want to parse this ID, I want to get it, I want to check if this object is present. If it's present, then I use it and I add some additional data to it. If it's not present, then I create it, right? So this is my problem right now. And now I'm thinking like, what I don't like is that, okay, I have this method node from dict, which is right here. And I still want to change it. I mean, yeah, like, so I either add here a method which will be def parse non-dict, and it takes self, it takes non-dict, and by the way, it will be static method because I want to refer to it before I even create an object. So static method result self. I say please parse it for me. It should be this part. Okay. And then I return params. Here I say params is equal to class dot parse not dict, and then I add 2 more parameters and then I call constructor. Okay, this is a little bit better. Okay, so now I can call here, I go back, and here I say, okay, first parse nodes dict for me. Oh wait. I think I can leave this though. So okay, not from dict, no dict, okay. And I'm going to move this logic back here. So okay, I parse this not dict. Yeah, I think this is a place where I want to do it. I will also need to parse this ID to node here. And I want to parse this node dict. I get an ID which will be params if not ID. Now there are 2 ways to handle this. One would be I'm trying to get this object, so say node will be id to node.get from params if not id. So I'm getting a node. It can be either an object or nothing. So if it's nothing, so if not is none, I'm doing this. But if it's something, then I want to start overriding the parameters. So I cannot call the constructor anymore. I need to call not.this. Okay. And I need to override these parameters now. Okay. I want to do a hack here, but let's do this. Let me see. So the hack would be to go through this node like basically for like for attribute value in params, I would call not dot set utter, I think with underscores, and then I would rewrite the values. Wow. Yes, this this may be painful. But yeah, so this is what I would do. So I could use this, but maybe like Python pep gods will like kill me for it. So probably I want to Google it first. So what I want to do, Python override class attributes from dict. No, not this. No. How to change dict into a class? No. Overloading? No. Set dictionary key to attribute of class instance. Let me also see something in the command line, because I will go that way. So let's say class node will be inherit from object, def init self name is equal to self.name is equal to name. Okay, now I create an R1, which I create a name which will be router1. What did they do? Oh, okay, right. Okay, so I have this object. Now if I call, do I have set attributes like this? Name R2. Okay, yeah, so if I call though like this, Python set utter using set utter in Python, or maybe it's set utter R1 name like this. Oh, right. Okay, I can use this, or I can use I can still use set utter, and I can say name R2 R3. Okay, and then R1 name will be R3. Okay, yeah, so this is what I will definitely need to use, either this or this. Let me Google what is better. Python set utter versus set utter. It's difference between, yeah, I know that you can't call an object not inherited, but is there anything else different between these two? Set utter is syntactic sugar, for instance. It only need to call inside the class definition. Okay, so yeah, I can call just set author. Yeah, so basically what I'm going through now, you know, like I'm really amazed, like the project itself, the idea is very like simple. You want to parse one XML and you want to create JSON for like completely different like program, but they are very similar, right? So it's just like, it's 2 hours work, and then you start and there are so many details that like, no, it's not 2 hours of work. And yeah, you know, like it's not like the first time I also like do parsing and that kind of stuff. So I'm amazed like how a simple project like this like turns into, you know, this is already my 7th hour doing on it, like doing 3 days, and I think we are only like 60% there. Yeah, so definitely whenever I think the project takes like X amount of time, I need to take that X, multiply by what, 4 or 5 maybe, to give a good estimate. Okay, so okay. So what happened there? I mean, I can already imagine what kind of problems you can hit when you want to compare to some. If you want to compare config, I remember me trying doing that. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of pain. Like how, especially if it's like simple config lines like NTP server 1 2 3 4, that's fine. But if it's those sections where, you know, like BGP, right, router BGP something, there is an address family, and then it's just shit lot of stuff there. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, creating is not super hard, yeah. Comparing could be super hard though. Yes, yeah. Like especially if you are 3-level nested, right, in the config, then you need to find a way that, okay, like this is this and this line is missing. Yeah, I can imagine there is nothing simple like this. Quite a while ago, I was writing. I was preparing for CCIE, and I was writing a converter of configs from INI format, and they use CSRs. In INI they use CSRs for their topology, so they have all of configs for CSRs. I wanted to use IOL, so I had to rename the interfaces and that kind of stuff. And then it seems like easy. You just, you go to you do just mask config replace, and that's all, right? You just rename gigabit Ethernet 1 to Ethernet 0 and you're done, right? That's what I thought, like again, 2 hours of work and I'm done there. So then I started, and then in the base config there were like interface range for switches. So there was interface range gigabit 01 from gigabit 01 to gigabit 010, right? And then you want to map those ranges to Ethernet 01 through Ethernet 1.3, for example. And wow, and it's like just like your script instantly breaks, it just doesn't work. I mean, obviously you can just keep it, right, and then do it manually, but you know, you really want to do it properly. So then you start to, okay, like when I'm parsing this, I want to get all interface ranges, I want to expand them as you know, individual interfaces, and then using a mapping of source interface to destination interface, I want to map those. For those interfaces that do not exist, I want to delete them. And then an interesting part then later was, okay, like I did that, that was fine. Then I realized that, okay, if I convert it like this, and if I upload this file config to IOL, and I start the device, if the interfaces are not in the proper order, then your all interfaces will be shut down. So if you really want them not to be shut down, they must be in the proper order. So then you start, okay, like I map those interfaces, but I also need to retain a specific order. And like, yeah, it was painful, but it was really interesting stuff. So obviously it was also like not 2 hours project, it was probably like 20 hours project at the end, but okay, so but at the end it worked fine. So I was able to get the folder with so INE has basically folder for every lab. So like for their like small labs and for big labs. So I was able to get that folder, and there was maybe like 40 different labs, and convert all of them, and all of them worked at the end. So it was really good feeling. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are doing set attribute on attribute and on value. Yeah, you know, moments like this, you're really like proud of yourself that you were able to get it working. Okay, so let me mentally go through this again. So, okay, I'm saying I'm going to parse the dictionary. There are a couple values there. Missing parameter. Okay, I also need to update this documentation, but not right now, maybe a little bit later. Okay, so I'm parsing this dictionary, and I say the node, I will try to get a node from the current mapping list. If it's so it will be either an object or a none. So then I call parameters, so I add some additional parameters, not a big deal. Then if object is known, I create a new object. If object is not known, I'm going through every attribute value in params, and I am setting these attribute values. Okay, yes, this looks good to me. There is one part about this interfaces.dict that I think will still break. So like I parse this from dict, I call this interfaces.dict. So I will go to this function, I will call self parse interfaces. I am going here and I say set so I'm going to interfaces. I'm going to dev parse interface dict. So here there is also a problem where that interface is already was created. So the only situation where it can be created is if the link is serial. And okay, I parse this and this. So if the interface is already created, I still parse this interface dict. Oh, I think I took that into account though. No. What do we think? So, if it's serial, this interface may be already created. So I parse some parameters. Oh. Yeah, I think I need to have my some test stuff here. So the link is serial and remote node does not exist. I create remote node and remote interface for this node, which goes, okay, let me also add here, remote node does not exist yet. So I create this node, I add it to mapping, which I don't have to do anymore because I already do it here. Yes, I need to do it a little bit differently. I need to say here ID to node is ID to node. Okay, so I created node and remote interface for this node. Remote interface for this node. So what this remote interface contains only if interface ID. Where is it? This interface contains interface ID. It contains parent node to which it is attached, so it's here and it's here. It may not have the name anymore. It may not have a name yet. Oh. Yeah. This part can be also propagated though. So I can say my interface ID, I can say my parent, and I can say what is another end. Gosh, this is becoming so complicated. So remote node here will be us, which will be self. Oh. Okay, so I can add the my node right now, but I cannot add remote interface because I am creating it only here. So I'm creating it later. Now, what I'm thinking, can we create it a little bit earlier? I think we can. I think I can create it earlier and then add mappings into directions. Wow, this is really complex. I did not expect it will be so mind-blowing though. Okay, so this part is fine. If the remote node is not known, it is exist already. The only situation where when it exists, hold on, red1339, thanks for following. So the only situation where that remote node exists if it was already parsed. So I can get the whole thing. I can get the remote interface, which I do here. Okay, makes sense. So okay, so here I create an interface, I refer it to interface ID, and I refer it to the object. So it can add us. Now, otherwise I get this interface. Cool. So let me do the following. So I'm cutting this. I'm adding it here. And I say create an interface with if interface name, if interface ID, remote node is there. I will not specify an interface because it's not yet defined. So I add this. Okay. So after this though, I can do link interfaces between each other. So I'm going to say, and does self create interface? Okay, it returns an interface. So a local interface will be this, and local interface will be dot remote interface will be remote interface. Remote interface dot remote interface will be local interface. Does it make sense, or I just shoot myself into the foot? Also here, I want to say remote interface, remote node will be self. Okay. Okay. Let's see if it works. Of course it doesn't. Self. Node object has no attribute ID to node. Yeah, so yes, just what I want to do. I create different nodes, I create interfaces, and then I link them. Yeah, okay, so we are almost there, So self ID to node will be if node ID is equal to self. Node object has no attribute. Okay, right. It will be like this. Non-type object does not support item assignment. Thank you very much. Okay, so somewhere I do not use this, and I think I see it now. Okay. Yes, it's a mapping dict. Now it says key error 17. Thank you. Whew. So what's wrong here? So return self ID.interface. So okay, I pass this number 17 and I expect that I get this interface. This situation is only valid where this node is already created. So if the node is already created, why don't I have the interface with ID 17? Okay, so this part goes somewhere strange. So I'm calling this only if this node is already created. So probably I have to okay. Let's add some comments, because I see as that already my mind is going like this. Not helpful. If remote node does not, if remote node exists, we get interface by interface ID. An interface does not have a link back to our node, so we create it. Okay. Now the code is crashing here on this line, so I cannot get it. So what is situation that I am getting this? So let me go to my loop here. Not from dict. No. Let's do this here. Prints out the name. Okay, so here it says none. Okay, so this means that I went through LAC and then I created this node 17. Great. So I created it and then I crashed there. Why did I crash? Did I pass this ID to node? Maybe I didn't pass it. Let me also delete this. Okay. Parse nodes. Here. ID to node. Oh! No, this is fine. So I create this ID to node here. So I create this ID to node here, I pass it from dict. I go here, I say by default it's none, but you can give it to me here. I get the node if it exists. In this case it doesn't, so it goes through process of creation a new node, where we say ID to node is this, and there are a number of parameters as well. So all of those are passed here. During the process of creation, I add to ID to node if node ID. I added myself here. So why do you complain? What is the state of this before the crash? Okay, so yes, I created this node without any name. Now I say if interface dict, which is where, okay, it's right here. If it's not known, I'm going to parse every interface. And this is where we crash. So we go through parse interfaces. Self-parse interfaces. I go through dict, ID to network, ID to node, which goes here. Oh. Oh. I don't see the problem yet. It contains parent node. I create remote node and remote interface for this node. This interface contains interface ID, contains parent node. It may not have a name yet, correct. Yeah. Let me show. Let me first remove this print statement, which I just stopped seeing right now. I just don't see this print statement anymore. Print. Did I delete it? Yeah. Here it is. Let's do this. I don't know why I use print statements if I have IDE which can do all heavy lifting for me. Let me run debugger here. So I want to take a look on the object self and I want to see this. Oh, oops. I think I need to see stack again. Let me copy this stack. Okay. this object does not exist. If we went here to CLS, we call self-parse interfaces, and then we go interface by interface. Oh, right. Yeah, so yeah, I needed to set here. Thanks. Yeah, so we are crashing here on get interface. So I want to see what ID to interface mapping contains. Because here I should have set it already. So let's see. Debugger self. And it contains stuff here. Oh. You know what? I think I know what it is. So let's go back here. So what happens here is that right. So I go through this node, I parse it, okay, this is fine. Go through every interface, this one is fine. It's actually didn't set up for 0 as well. Oh wow. I also don't see here interface 0. Okay, so this part is also not working. It could be though that it's just the order problem. Yeah, let me see the whole order. So we have to go through parse interfaces function. Parse interfaces to be right here. So here there is a list. If is instance blah blah blah. Right, so okay, so no. Interface dict here is 0. Oh, no, wait, this is like not that object. No, debugger here will be pointless. But print statement may be useful though, so I will see the latest one. And let me also print the what? Print self.name. Print self.name. I think I know, but I want to be able to tell for sure. No. So this one is not set. This looks fine for LAC. Yes, it does. Let me do one more thing though. Let's do print self ID to interface. So I want to make sure that this stuff makes sense. And probably I also want to print the self name. Something is just terribly wrong here. Like literally something just feels completely off. Like why would after the parsing this mapping look so strange? Are there only 0 and 16s? And let me add additional thing. So this is crap here. Like this. Let's see the UNL file. Or maybe it's actually okay. Yeah, I think it's okay because here, you know, these numbers are like 0, 16, 32. And still something feels off. For LAC we don't go through the whole stuff. So I think that print statement was fine, but I have to move it inside the for loop though. Okay, look at this. So, well, ETLR7, it was before. This could be fine. The main, you know, because yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure that XML to dict will return an order dict, which kinda goes through. Oh, I know why it's not, because it contains one interface, and if it contains one interface, we go through here. So, no. So order is fine. So let me do it. But this was a good call. So, yeah, here you see, and right. So this will be populated actually after, and let me also move it to after. So yeah, so we populate this, we populate LAC, first interface, done. Second interface, done. On the third interface, this is where we have the problem. So this actually went fine. So now remote node is created, but remote interface is not. So I think this is why it's crashing. So remote node is already created, but remote interface is still not. So let me go back through my logic. So I say here, if remote interface is none, I create one, and I say remote interface. This is fine. Right, makes sense. So here my logic says if the remote node does not exist, right? Hey there. So yeah, so what I do, I have a topology in virtual simulator EVE-NG, and I want to convert it to GNS3 topology so I can use it there. So I'm writing a Python script to do it. Yeah, so the comment in the chat says you're not catching remote interface not existing on the remote node, I guess. Or does it get created by default? So what I'm not catching not exist. Yes, this is exactly what is happening. You're correct. So the remote node is already created, but I'm assuming that that interface is there, but it's not, right? So I need to so I need to change something here. Good call. I need to say get interface. Should I want to do this. Interface will be this one. Okay. So and then I want to say if interface, no, let's actually do this. I had key error, so I will do try this and going back. I want to raise an exception here, which then I will need to catch. So accept key error. I want as E. I want to say raise, and I want to create a new exception, which will be I will create a new file. Let's say errors.py, and I say class interface not found. No, interface does not exist. My key error. What else is there? I don't like that, you know. Could you guys please advise how would I name this exception? I don't like this lame English here. So interface not found. Yeah, missing interface. Good, thanks. Missing interface. So here, let me go to the top and I say from errors, or just import errors. And then I say where my get interface, and I say raise missing no, errors dot missing interface. Interface with ID does not exist on node with ID, and it will be, I don't need SE. This will be interface ID, and I have to do this. Okay, interface with ID, interface ID does not exist on node with ID self dot EVE node ID. Okay, so this looks fine. Those are those are interfaces that are in our like node class. So in this particular case, those are from UNL files. Those are either routers or switches, but mainly routers. Okay, so okay, this looks great. So if it's not there, I'm raising here, and then wherever I get it here, remote node does not exist yet. Okay, if remote exists, we get interface by ID. So I say try except errors.missing interface errors.missing interface. So I need to create remote interface, and I am going to create it in a similar way. Now I have code repetition. If remote ID is none, remote node does not yet exist. Okay. So what if we now remove all of that stuff? I will remove else. I will remove this. I will just try. And catch this. Okay. And then I'm going to link this back to the node first, and then two interfaces together. I think this will actually work until it doesn't work. Okay, now okay, this is easy. So this is items. Okay. Not type object has no attribute if X. Well, at least what is nice is that we went through a couple of, we parsed all of the nodes. This is already good. So I parse this, I parsed configs, and I am crashing here, and I didn't crash there before. So it crashes because it cannot find. No, it says non-type object has no attribute if X. So somehow nodes I'm going to print nodes here. No, I will just put a debugger. Ah. Oh, okay. Here. Let's see. Let's look on this. Oh. Class list. It contains... Well, sometimes it contains none. So this is definitely a problem. Like all the time. No, it contains only one none here actually. Wow. Yeah, so now we have to figure out why there is one none there. I think I append to nodes only in one place. In parse.nodes. Yeah, here. Nodes append none. So let me print this and see what's happening. Yes, there are some other print statements that I have to get rid of. This is some placeholder to do. Okay. Okay, here. Oh. I know. This will be not hard, I think. So I have here this class method where I return, in one case, I return an instance of the class. But here, for when this instance exists, I set parameters, but I never return the class. So sorry, I never return the instance. So I do this. Nice. Woohoo! That looks great. So it didn't crash. This is amazing. So the way I want to test this, let's see. I need a debugger again. So the way we test this, we go to node which connects to another node, and we explore this object to make sure that all links are in place, and if they are, then it's all fine. So here I already created all of the nodes. Let me go here. So I need to get the node which is LA. Let's see. LAC 16. Yes, this one. So this should contain 3 interfaces. 0, 1 and 3. Serial, yeah. So interface 0 is connected to like network. Okay. Interface 1 should be connected to another device, which will be a remote node 17. So let's see. It says okay, so this is broken actually. So it's not set. And here it is set. Haha. Nice. But the remote interface here is set though. So this interface 1 is referring to remote interface which is connected to node 17. But remote node is not set correctly here. And for this case it is set correctly. Okay. So we have to fix this. I think I just deleted this accidentally. Wait, it is right there. Why it's setting to none? I'm saying create an interface. Boom. I created an interface. Oh, this will be pain. Haha. So let's see. Node 16 has 3 interfaces. Interface 1 has correct remote interface attribute, but remote node is set to none. Oh, okay. I think I see it. So here I create a new interface. It's called local interface. I create it and I say remote node is this, but it can be none. Okay. So, I think I can cut this and use it after this code. Okay, and I create here in remote ID will be correct one, and on the remote and it will be correct one, and then I create links. Okay, let's do it once again. Yeah, I hope so too. So let's go to nodes. and then LAC here. This config set ID to I have interfaces here. I have interface 1 and it's mapping correctly to another node. What about second one? It's mapping also correctly. Now we should be able to go through the whole like recursion. So if I say remote node, I should be able to expand interfaces on remote node. And there are two interfaces which are mapping. No. Self node is correct. Remote node is LACE, and the remote interface is correct. Okay, and what about the node 1? And interface 1 node is this one. Remote interface is LAC. Okay, yeah, this looks great. So, wow, man, you know, it was harder than I thought it will be. And considering that I already, like, previously, maybe it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I already built like a models of network in like Python. So with topology, with this linkage, but it never gets easier, right? So probably now it's a good way to add comments and probably wrap up for today. So sorry, not comments, but docked strings. Ideally, I would also need to add tests, but I'm actually not really good at tests yet. But I definitely have to start. So, get an interface object based on interface ID. Interface ID it's a string. String ID of the interface in XML, in source XML file. Returns interface object having this interface ID if exists. Raises errors dot missing. Thank you. How to pronounce your name correctly? It would be like just JMPY or Jumpy or something like that. Jumpy. Okay. Thanks very much for joining. Tune in next time. Missing. So it raises missing interface if if interface was not found. So I also think that for future I will need to add to my the chat on the screen so that for people who are watching the recording, they understand the context. But probably it will be like for another time. So errors missing interface if interface was not found. Okay. Okay. Creates an interface object and stores it in self.interfaces list string. So if interface ID is a string, interface ID in source XML file, string interface name source XML file. If network will be network object to which an interface is connected. Remote node will be node object and node to which an interface is connected if serial link, no, if the link is serial. Interface object, which belongs to a node to which interface is connected if the link is serial. Okay, returns interface object. Okay. Creates a config file for the node in the specified directory on disk. Destination directory where the file should be written. None. So this function also modifies cell.interfaces, adds an interface object to this list and self ID to interface, adds ID to interface object mapping for quick access. Okay. Also have, let's see what Google says. Python to create doc strings for constructors. Okay. Okay, I'm not ready to document all of this here, but I should. I will leave it for another time. but for this part I want to document. Creates a node object if it does not exist based on the node dict. So node dict is a dictionary containing node attributes. No, containing a dictionary obtained from XML to dict, representing node. Dictionary. So D2 network is dictionary which is containing mapping from network ID to network object. ID to network is dictionary containing mapping from node ID to node object. Returns instance of the class node. Examples. So let's write one. So it will be like this. Name is R1 and let's see, maybe if not ID, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then okay. Let's add some comment here because there is some magic. So if node already exists, go through each parameter, through each attribute and set it for the existing object. Okay. If the node does not yet exist, create a new one using class constructor. Okay. Okay, this function parses dictionary from XML to dict and returns a new dictionary with different variable names. Dictionary containing class node attributes, attribute names with values. Node dict dictionary from XML to obtained from XML to dict and containing information about nodes. Okay, we are almost there. Okay, I don't want to document property, but parse interfaces I have to do it. So here goes through each interface in the dictionary and creates interface objects for them. Modifies self.interfaces. Yeah, so it modifies self interfaces. It's a new interface there. Modifies self to modifies ID to node. Can create may create a remote remote node object and interface if needed. It's an ID to node object mapping to the dictionary to the list. Yes, this is a very tedious process, but this is something that must be done. You know, if it's not done now, it's never done. Okay, so list is a sequence, dictionary is not a sequence. Okay, this is documented, this is documented. This is fine. This, let's see, to do. Okay. Okay, this looks great. Okay, I think I will save this now and let's push it to Git before we go. Git if, git ignore. Okay, so git add a, git status, git commit parse nodes and interfaces. Create links between nodes interfaces. No, between nodes. Okay. Git push. Okay, let's see. Nice. Okay, so this code is there. Network model. This network model is already 300 lines. That's amazing. Okay, I think this is a good point to wrap up. We created links. This was a lot of work, really. Probably this is the most difficult part in the whole thing, because once we have everything in the objects, it's actually very easy to just get this data and retrieve it and just do it. So what's left to do? We will need to create we will have to create this link object, and because, as I explained, EVE operates with networks, and those networks are created only if there are like multiple links on the same segment. In GNS3 everything is point to point, so we will have to have this link object which goes through our networks and create a bunch of point-to-point links. We also need to create a switch for those multi-access links if there are like more than 2 nodes. Then for point-to-point links, we just basically transfer them to GNS3 link objects, and that's more or less it. And then after all this stuff is done, this probably will take around 3 hours. I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours. After all of this is done, we will have to populate the templates like this and basically write our output JSON file, and that will be all, hopefully. So yeah, thank you very much for joining the stream today, and we will continue next time. Thank you, till next time, bye.